Look at that! Screw you, BN1! Screw you, BN1! Oh! How long does it take to get every achievement in Battle Network 1 without anyone's help? The short answer is 24 hours, but the long answer is a lot more fun. So right off the bat, this is the Legacy Collection version of BN1, and that's how we are going to determine all the achievements that we need to fully complete the game. I know that a true 100% would require something like getting all the HP memories or all the power-ups, but for the sake of this video and for this challenge, we are strictly going with the Legacy Collection trophies. For the most part, Battle Network 1's achievements are pretty easy. The best by far is solving the Quizmaster's questions. Now, this is a tradition that is in every single Mega Man Battle Network game, but BN1's Quizmaster in particular is wild for asking a 10-year-old boy his teacher's measurements.
This guy is not for real. This guy is not for real.
I was shook when I saw this. How did this not get censored?
There's no way this is canon! There's no way this is canon!
And by the way, a 33-22-33 figure is very unrealistic, so I don't know which devs are better, the ones that snuck this factoid into a child's Game Boy Advance game, or the devs who made Ms. Mari's figure canonically ridiculous. Anyway, back to achievements. There's a few random quests like fixing a vending machine or getting an old man his dentures. Since there's not a lot of real world to explore in Battle Network 1, these quests are pretty easy and can definitely be solved without any help. The only one that's somewhat tricky is the stolen bank account, but if you remember where Stone Man was located during the main story, you'll be just fine. Getting all the internet addresses is a bit tricky. All the people who have them are notable NPCs that you can't really miss, like your trio of friends Dex, Mayl, and Yai, or the optional bosses Sal, Mesa, and Miu. What's tricky is that you need to jack into their computers directly. That's the only way to find the mystery data that contains their address. But if you want to access the internet itself from their computers, you need to unlock that gate from the outside. In other words, you need to find their home pages on the internet first to truly unlock the gate. A bit annoying, but overall not too bad. What is bad, however, is collecting every single chip. Holy cow, it is such a hassle. For the sake of this challenge, I refuse to trade with real people because that's just way too easy, and if you're suffering through Battle Network 1, you may as well suffer hard, but not so hard that Buster Max isn't nice, right? Collecting every chip means understanding how to navigate BN1's insane asylum of an internet. The game does not tell you what location you're in by pausing the menu, so the only real way to understand where you are is to use outside guides for maps. The best site that I found for this is Cossack's Lab, which I'll link in the description. Really makes you wish Capcom put the DS remake of BN1 in the Legacy Collection, huh? In fact, I've got videos on it right here if you'd like to learn more. Now, check this out. Because it's Battle Network 1, there's no sub-chips and there's no Navi customizer. That means you have absolutely no way of affecting encounter rates, which also means that if you're hunting for a Navi ghost, you're going to be grinding for a long time. And remember, you can't run in BN1, and your chips in general are pretty weak. I've never been more grateful for Buster Max than in the BN1 grind against random viruses, though of course my playthrough was for charity, and we had it toggled on and off by arcade donors. But the best part by far is finally finding the Ghost Nav you need, S-ranking it, and getting Zenny. Why you get Zenny from these fights is absolutely beyond me. It is so unbelievably frustrating, you cannot even begin to believe it. When I finally made it to base and needed his life aura drop to complete the achievement, I basically snapped.
BN1 is the best game ever. That was the smoothest operating I've ever. Why would they give you Zenny? Who thinks they want Zen? What would you even buy? What would you even buy after you beat base? What would you buy? What would you buy?
Battle Network 1 is also full of really tough chip drops in general. I always see people on Reddit or Facebook complain about Drop Down, Howitzer, and Leech Shield. Buster Max unfortunately won't help you get double or triple deletes, so you absolutely need a solid folder to get S ranks in certain fights if you ever want to actually get certain chips. But don't expect Proto Man the Navi chip to do it, because in this game he only strikes once. Yikes. That being said, there is a saving grace to BN1, and that is the chip trader. This is the only game in the series where you can save scum the 10 chip trader in Higsby's, and this machine is also capable of spitting out every single chip in the game. There are a few exceptions though. If you want Magic Man, Shadowman, Pharaohman, Life Aura, or base chips, you'll need to own them yourself first before the machine can spit them out. But still, you can get things like Anubis or Muramasa pretty early in the game, and I got some pretty solid RNG with harder chips like Drop Down. If I were to redo this challenge, I would immediately start with those Net Navis that can't be part of the chip trader. Of course, it's not like you can easily access them. In order to fight Pharaohman, for example, you need to be at level 70, and that's determined by getting all of the HP memories, power-ups, and shields necessary to reach that level. Or if you want Shadowman, you need to have 140 chips in your library, and that's pretty tough. That's basically 80% of all the chips you can collect in the game. And of course, these bosses get even better because their drop tables also include Muramasa and Anubis, as well as Zenny, so you have even less of a chance to get the chip that you need. At one point in my playthrough, I was so annoyed because Buster Max got turned off by a donor and my folder was way too weak to reliably S-rank Shadowman to get that Shadowman V3 chip. On a rank 9 deletion, you have only a 3% chance of getting Shadowman 3, but I got it.
Wait, what? Wait, what? Did we just get a 3% drop?
Anyway, the reason I'd start with those Navi bosses as soon as possible is because save scumming the chip trader is an extremely effective way to fill your library. I felt so annoyed because a lot of the tough chips with weird virus locations would casually pop out of the chip trader as I was hunting for Navi chips and Buster chips. The chip trader is boring, but it does work. The other thing I try to learn is RNG Manipulation. This is a way to guarantee that you'll fight the Navi boss you need and get the chip that you desire. There are tutorial guides out there on YouTube, but I felt intimidated by the precise movements you need to reliably set it up. Maybe with a bit of practice, I could have saved hours upon hours. Eventually, you finally make your way to Base, who is of course another random encounter. To find him, you need every single chip in the game except for Life Aura because that's what he drops. I had a tough time with him at first because my folder really was awful. Of course, Buster Max was off, and his attack patterns are different in BN1 than they are in other games. It took a lot of time, but I eventually did it, and wow, you can feel the catharsis right here.
Yes, we did it! And I heard the achievement. We did it. Look at that. Screw you, BN1. Screw you, BN1. We're done with that game.
Battle Network. All cleared. Congrats.
All in all, doing every achievement in Battle Network 1 took me about 24 hours. Wow, that's kind of crazy. And if you were to do it with a friend, you could easily cut that down to maybe 10 just to beat the game itself. Chip trading is basically the hardest thing you have to do in the entire game. And of course, turning off Buster Max probably would have delayed the game by another 5 or 6 hours. So up to you whether or not you do want to do it. I will say I was pleasantly surprised by how enjoyable I found this experience to be. Yes, Battle Network 1 is awful. I always make fun of it, but there is kind of a charm to the first game of the series. I've never actually done the post game before because I never really had the patience or the desire to do it. So there was a lot of things that I just never knew about that were kind of fun for me as a Battle Network veteran to explore. At the end of the day, I would definitely not really do this challenge again, but these are some good tips for you if you ever end up wanting to do it yourself. Of course, do consider subscribing to our channel if you enjoy content like this. I'd love to know what Mega Man challenge we should do next. I can't wait to see you next time, Scouts.